your statement. Even if it's wrong, try it again. How do you pronounce it?
For foreign.
Oh, Caldor. Always
There you
right.
go.
Let's go to our battleground. Number 1 here in the best of 5 series. It's going to be Infernal Shrines Dignitas with the pick, which does mean Tricked Esports will have first pick.
Yeah, Tricked with the first pick here, and I'm actually really excited for today. We have Kel'Thuzad, of course, available. And he's a really interesting hero, but he's not really being picked as much as I thought he would. So a lot of teams really just say, hey, he is so vulnerable and he doesn't really have that escape. If you get jumped on him, then you are dead. So against mobile characters, he's very vulnerable, and you have to have a very good draft that can protect him. But then again, if you are in a position where you already win, where you are able to siege into the opponent, that is where Kel'Thuzad actually really excels. And in the hands of a good player, I've seen a couple of games where, a couple of scrims where the teams were practicing him, where I was just like, oh my god, this is scary stuff. So I hope we see him today, but I don't expect him to make an appearance in every single draft.
Yeah, he feels almost unfair when you're hit with those chains. You get locked down. 2 of your teammates get blown up by 1 combo coming out. This is pre-nerf Kel'Thuzad 2 that will be out for us, so we'll be seeing him in all of his glory. His Icicle will be putting out that massive damage at 220. I believe it was scaling up compared to the 60 that you now see on the live patch. So Kel'Thuzad, very binary, as mentioned by Caldoro over here. He's either going to blow you up or he's going to get dived on and die pretty quickly. He is the definition of a glass canyon. But obviously, with the team building around it, you can have some fun compositions come out.
Tim and I were already this morning talking a bit about our own Hero League adventures, where we are trying to exploit that everyone plays Kel'Thuzad right now and that everybody is very, let's call it, eager to complete the quest talent.
Yeah.
So you go with the Valera option and try to snipe him. I personally found Stitches to be my lord and savior, because every single Kel'Thuzad player is just so far out. It's all about the quest stacks for them, so they're always in a spot where they're vulnerable. It's kind of funny.
Trying to finish off that Blight. Here we go. Let's move into game number 1. Will we see a Kel'Thuzad? We will see. Now, someone you may see out of the latest reworks that have been coming in, the Leorc, been seeing him a lot last weekend. Also, Kuromi starting to get a little bit more play. She got buffed on the live patch, but she's still here with the 80 stacks quest. But we're seeing a lot of teams finish those up anyways.
Now, of course, when we talk about Kel'Thuzad, we have also to talk about our mage players. And when we're talking about mage players, the one player that comes to mind across Europe is obviously... and that's why you cast Europe, because of that in-depth knowledge.
You're welcome.
It's obviously Mena. So with Mena being a potential player for Kel'Thuzad, this is definitely something I would love to see throughout the series. And the strongest Kel'Thuzad map right now seems to be Tomb of the Spider Queen.
Makes sense.
That's a map where you can siege with the objective quite easily. You have a lot of structures where you can use the chains. So that's something we have to watch out for later on. For now, it's all about Infernal Shrines, and this is where we again have ETC as the first pick. For the same reason that we saw him the last few weeks in there. You can mirror Dehaka on the solo lane. You're flexible on a first pick. You can play him as the off tank, as the main tank. And there's a lot of combo potential. And of course, with ETC now taken by Team Dignitas, they also eliminate the option for their opponent to run ETC together with Uther, which for Tricked was the first pick earlier on.
And usually you decide here if you want to take away that Genji that could be going the other side. Tricked Esports with that Uther into Make Genji has always been a strong strength. So Dignitas thinking about their second pick. What do they want to move into? But continuing on this Kel'Thuzad train, I just want to keep talking about him here. Have you seen him on BOE at all? Because his Death and Decay is actually pretty decent DPS for working on an Immortal.
It can be quite annoying, but I think on BOE more so than on most other maps. First of all, you have less potential to get good chains off and good combos when we're talking about the standoff in the middle. And another problem is that it's easier to flank against him over there, since you have so many angles where you can approach from. And as we said, if you can jump on Kel'Thuzad, he's usually dead. Like, saving him is pretty difficult. Positioning is quite important to him. But that's, yeah, BOE, I haven't seen him as much on that map.
Yeah.
And if I did, then it was mostly in Hero League where you pick a Stitches and all of a sudden it's just like, oh, I lied. There's a lot of dead Kel'Thuzads over there.
Genji has been left out here for Tricked Esports. They move straight into the Tyrael and the Gul'dan. Now, Tyrael is being a little bit more popular here in Europe. Sorry with Tricked Esports. We saw it a little bit with Team Liquid as well. But Tricked Esports, they love to find certain heroes and play them. Gul'dan's one case, and Tyrael seems to be that new case.
Also with Tyrael, when you are outside of the mosh pit, you can still save your allies with a good Sancts overall on Infernal Shrines are super important and can really win you the fight and also the objective itself. When we're talking about Crosby on Gul'dan, then it's just one of these comfort heroes that he really loves to play. He's been playing the hero a lot and his impact is usually pretty high. So they love to play with Gul'dan if they get the chance to play him, lately even more so than before. So that's a pick that makes a whole lot of sense for them. When it comes to the bans, though, we'll come back to what you were talking about. Genji as an option on the side of Tricked Esports, with Make in particular, has been eliminated as Dignitas has opted to ban him out.
Do you think we would have seen a Tyrael ban if we got Genji Gul'dan here? Could we have kept that Tyrael waited for later on, or do you think he's grown up enough in EU to pick him up this high?
I don't think that he would have been banned out, to be honest. I think they could have waited for a bit later. Then again, you don't know what they are trying to spec into now. But overall, as you said, he's making more of an appearance in drafts, and he's starting to rise in priority for some teams. But I don't think that you necessarily had to pick him in your second rotation right away. But again, I would expect that they add a second tank to him. So for now, it's just all about that tank for them. It also allows, for example, Greymane to be picked, but they banned him out already. So that would have been one option for them to head into. I think the reason why they banned Greymane here is that they were pretty sure that they couldn't get the hero themselves. Of course, with their comp, they would love to play him, but the chances of Dignitas picking him away are a bit too high, since Greymane just excels so much on Infernal Shrines, thanks to the cocktail and the amount of pressure that it brings to the objective, but also the sheer kill potential.
Now we're waiting on Zelia's hero, and then probably Snitch for the pickup. Usually they reserve their mage pickup to that 5th, unless they want to get someone. They could do it here with Gul'dan floating around, still wait for that 5th pickup. There is our Tyrande, and we have Leoric coming in.
Loving it. I was just about to mention Tyrande and Kel'Thuzad. Both of them would have been potential follow-ups for them, since the ETC combos are becoming way more popular as of late in Europe. And normally with ETC, there's 2 potential follow-ups that you have. One is Tyrande with the stun, or you can head into Kel'Thuzad and can simply use the gravity lapse and try and kill a target through that. So I love that Tyrande is being picked up here. It's definitely a great hero and has made a huge impact in the European meta. And on the other hand, we see Leoric that we've been talking about quite a lot, especially his Ominous Wrath on 13 and Royal Focus on 16 have been huge priorities for the team's big power spikes. I've seen a few of them starting to experiment with different builds, though, just to have some wiggle room and see if maybe other playstyles cater to their personal goals as well. But I would still expect here on this map, with that single focus, to see them with Ominous Wrath and Royal Focus. It's definitely Leoric's best map right now. And
with Matthew being picked, kind of a bit of a read as to why we got the Tyrael earlier. Tyrael is someone that can really do a great job of stopping that Tormented Souls by dropping down the Sanctification. It's been used as a counter in the past. So grabbing Tyrael earlier allows you to go into that Malthael if the option was available, and Trick sees something on the opposing side, they move it to it. And we are going for full poison comp, it looks like. Not a second tank, which I expected as well. We have Corruption available, we have Lenara's poison and Malthael. On the left, we have, Kel'Thuzad coming out.
I was like, Tim, you didn't even see it.
That was
so focused on the Lunara there.
But that's a poison cup. That's scary. We gotta talk about it.
Yeah, that's what we've been talking about.
He brings it out in game number 1 in the best of 5 series. It looks like they're confident here.
Yeah, I definitely like that we have it. And to be honest, this is a fantastic map for Kel'Thuzad. He has a lot of AoE damage, and because of that big 5 versus 5 battle that happens over most of the shrines, at least in the mid and late game, you will get a lot of potential combos, especially, of course, with the chains. Now, when we talk about the quest, on the other hand, when we talk about a straight, so most players will be able to finish it off between the 7 and the 8 minute mark. That is currently roughly the standard on the pro level play. Depending on the map and depending on the play styles of both teams, you might even be able to get it faster. But I'm pretty curious to see how exactly Mena is going to measure up to it right now on this particular map and how they are playing around it. Because I think if you have stuns already, Kel'Thuzad becomes so much more dangerous, just because with your Frost Nova, you are more or less guaranteed to just hit that center. I've seen him in some comps with Malfurion, for example, where once you land a root, the Frost Nova follows, the target is completely locked into place, and then everybody else dishes the damage out. So it is a pretty scary setup that they have here, for sure.
Yep, the ETC power slide into that Tyrande combo and a Kel'Thuzad should be some dead targets, but will Tricked Esport be able to weather the storm and get to late game? That's where the Malthael, Lunara, and Gul'dan should theoretically come online and be able to dive onto their opponent. And they do have the dive there with the Malthael now and Tyrael. If they can get to that back line, that's where they can disrupt their opponent.
Also, let's not forget that we have with Crosby another Gul'dan player that has shown great horror fights throughout the entire phase 2. And that is a problem for Mena now as well. If Mena steps out a bit too far with Kel'Thuzad and the Horrify hits him, he's dead. That's the problem that you have with Kel'Thuzad. You basically cannot really save him. We saw Korea, for example, a bit earlier, where Kel'Thuzad was also played. And quite often, even when he's even when he's ancestral, like he gets out of position for just a second, immediately the team realizes, hey, he's in trouble. Ancestral hits, he still dies.
Yeah.
He is so vulnerable, it is absolutely crazy. So you have to be on point with your positioning, and it's very difficult oftentimes for players to not be greedy, especially when you have not completed their quest yet.
Well, it's time to see if Mene here will show off the Kel'Thuzad. The game 1 will now begin between Dignitas and Tricked Esports. We're going to Infernal Shrines.
Game number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Dignitas going up against Tricked Esports with Bakery on Rega, JPL on ETC. We have Mene on Kel'Thuzad and Snitch coming in with the Tyrande here for the follow-up stun as Zelia has the offlaner, has taken control of Leoric.
And on the right side in the red, it will be Tricked Esports, and we'll jump to them quick here as we get a little pause, just slightly, to get our talents figured out. What's the level 1 that we go for Kel'Thuzad? You know, Mene wants to make sure he has a couple of extra seconds here to set up for the team.
I mean, so far what we've seen with the builds, I've seen a couple of variations of builds, and it depends. Like, first of all, level 4, your buyback is of course quite important to him if you are on a map where you're guaranteed to get regeneration globes, so that's an important one. On level 1, I've seen a few variations, either speccing into Frost Nova, but most of the time it seems that it's really just like the range on the chains that you're trying to go for. But overall, there's still a couple of talents where teams are trying to figure out, okay, what do we really want, what do we really need here? But the builds, it depends a bit. Again, it's very map dependent. For example, when we talk about his buyback on level 4, then especially Tomb of the Spider Queen, of course, is one of those maps where he absolutely excels. Keep in mind, though, that we are still looking at the Kel'Thuzad version that is pre-patch. So a lot of the nerfs that have hit the hero are not in this build yet.
The buyback is such an interesting talent at level 4.
Yeah.
Mostly because a lot of people, if they die early, they think they have to use that buyback right away. And you don't, because you do have that passive that's available that gives you the extra spell power.
It's horrible to use it early
Yeah,
on.
you need to hold on to it until it's a moment where you have to use it to defend, keep pushing in, or to get ready for a team fight. It's better in the late game. A lot of people just finish the quest and then they die and just come right back in. It's not a Diablo trait where you have to come back and save it.
Especially in the early stages, when you just completed it for the first time, your death timer is so low that it's absolutely not worth to go for the buyback option. You always need to figure out, what do I get if I go immediately back into the game? Can I push with my team? Am I needed to defend, for example? And if not, falling back on that passive is just so much better. So, or just like having the option of, if you die again, really helping out in a dire situation. So that's incredibly important for the team. So it's an interesting mechanic for sure. And with them now increasing also the globes that you need from 10 to 12, I actually think that's pretty cool. Because overall, I mean, we all remember the Resurgent times. It was
It
was an atrocious talent. We are all happy that it's gone, and that was a very tough time for heroes. But so every single time I see like a buyback option, being it Malthael, being in Kel'Thuzad, I'm always a bit skeptical. But I like the dynamic that you have to collect the globes, that it is basically something that you can activate once.
Yeah.
And now that they went from 10 to 12 in regeneration globes on the live patch, I actually like it, because it's really that time frame where, depending on the situation, it's not, as you said, it's not something that you just throw out. You have to really think, do I use it now? Is this one of these situations where it gives me enough value that I can benefit from it, or do I hold it back? Especially since you also have the passive advantage that you get through it too. So you give something up when you go for the buyback. So I like that quite a lot. The mechanic is interesting. I wouldn't like to see it on too many heroes, but having it on Kel'Thuzad, I think, is pretty sweet.
It's a good trade-off for sure. And I like the artificial cooldown, basically because you have the region globes that you have to go around again, find them. 2-minute Spider Queen, even Brax's holdout. Those are maps that you can get that back pretty quickly. But if you go to Infernal Shrines and the map's pushing out, you're not going to finish that quest anytime soon. Let's go ahead and go to game number 1. The battleground is, in fact, Infernal Shrines. Dignitas taking on Tricked Esport. Here we go. On the left side, once again, can you go ahead and introduce our players, Caldor?
All right, so let's go for Team Dignitas once more, as we have them to the left side with Bakery and Rega, JPL on ETC, Zelia on Leoric, Mene, of course, on Kel'Thuzad, and Snitch on Tyrande.
On the right side in the red, Nape will be playing Uther. Rimmer is your Malthael player. Alex Aproji playing Tyrael. Make on Lenara, and Crosby on Gul'dan.
And as said before, with Kel'Thuzad right now on level 1, we have a few talents that players go through depending on the team and the map where they play. In this case, we have Blighted Frost taken by Mene. So for the extra damage with the Frost Nova that we currently have, and the later on added root duration,
That actually makes a ton of sense, simply because you have the setup right away, right? You have your power slide, you can hit that center pretty easy.
Yeah, not only that, it's also on this map you want to have more area of effect damage, simply because the objective is all about collecting these minion stacks. So oftentimes, as we said before, there's alternative talents you can take, but right now, for this map and the setup that is being played here, it makes sense. And here we have already that lockdown. Alex jumps out and dies immediately. Has already used his Aldruin. They're trying to get the counter kill against JPL. They might even get it, but he barely survives. But it basically shows exactly what we've been talking about earlier. We are talking about a combo where ETC slides in, Turanda gets the stun, and then you have the setup for Mena with his Frost Nova being a guaranteed hit. And here we see it again.
Nabe gets focused down. There's a chain into a wall, and Uther is killed. And we should note that Tyrael looked a little bit stronger on that last blow-up. That's because he picked up even in death at level 1. You can tell that there is a plan here from Alex Aproji to kill Kel'Thuzad. If he can't do it while alive, hopefully in death he can pull it off.
Yeah, that might be a really annoying thing later on in the game for Mena in particular. But again, this setup that we're seeing here with the 3 heroes already waiting for another potential kill is what's going to happen a lot more often now in this game. JPL, Snitch and Mena on ETC, Turanda and Kel'Thuzad. It's all about these blow-up comps again that we have seen in the past. And that is definitely something to watch out for. So you might remember similar compositions with ETC or Muradin together with the Turanda, and then for the damage we have seen in the past. Jaina, for example, or other heroes like Li Ming that are trying to bring the burst damage. So the thought process is the same. We have a stun lock into snipe composition.
And that stun lock into snipe composition has been quite a scary thing for Tricked Esport. They are playing safe on the map, taking every safe route to rotate between lanes, making sure to have multiple members away from the Kel'Thuzad. They have 3 in the top right now, and they're just pushing in. They actually have a decent team comp for burning down these shrines, but they're staying away from this kill comp. They want to get to 10 as easily as possible.
Even level 7 alone is already going to help. That's going to be an important talent for them, since the Hand of Protection, the cleanse ability on Uther is going to have a huge impact whenever this is happening. So it's something to watch out for sure. As expected, we have now the buyback on level 4 taken right immediately. So going to work on those globe stacks. Of course, if you win the objective, you get another 2 regeneration globes and we'll work towards completion quite a bit faster. But for now, it's again the kill potential against Tyrael. Yep, there comes the chain. Alex jumps in again, but you can see that he nearly fell from full HP to death with just 1 good combo on those 3 heroes. So definitely super dangerous what Dignitas is playing here.
Remember, got Toronto low, but not a kill. Dignitas able to grab the first Punisher of the game here at 3 minutes. They'll be pushing on the bottom side. And every time that JPL shows up, watch Tricked Esport and how safe they are playing. The only one that has ever gotten into position to get picked off is Alex Aproji.
Now, I want to point this quickly out, because Kel'Thuzad right now, this is where he really excels, when he can siege into opponents. And the one thing that he does, and that might be exactly this, you don't go for the actual chain target against a hero. You chain target a building, and then you hit with a second one, you drag a hero to it. So that's more or less a guaranteed combo, and it also makes his sieging ability so much stronger, since you can basically hit a target that is behind the structure. So it isn't really an option for Gul'dan anymore to hide behind a fort or behind a tower or behind a wall, because Kel'Thuzad is going to be looking for him, is going to chain the structure first, then chain him in the second attempt to the structure and hit the combo with a Frost Nova and a Death and Decay. So this is one of the main reasons why Kel'Thuzad is so incredibly powerful, sieging into something, so pushing with the team.
And it's something that you can almost just throw out willy-nilly if you want. You have 4 seconds where it can sit on top of that and wait for a target to walk nearby. And your opponent either has to respect it or take the risk of not getting hit by it to move forward. It is a real pressure play that Kel'Thuzad just pulls off so well.
You can just spam it out the entire time, because as you said, your opponent doesn't really know, are you going to hit this or not? And for you, even if you're just pushing them back, it allows the rest of the team to push the structures in more heavily. So you're absolutely right. This is something that if you push with the team, you should always just throw out. Chain a structure, chain a gate, chain a tower, chain a fort, and just wait for an opponent to walk up a bit too close and then go in for the combo. The Glacial Spike now on level 7 has been the go-to talent so far, to be honest.
Yep, it gives you defensive capabilities in case you do get ganked. You can throw out a quick combo. It gives you offensive capabilities. It gives you damage as well. It does get nerfed when we go into the live patch, but here on this tournament, it helps out with that combo incredibly well with the area effect damage.
Now, when we talk about the rest of the talents, of course, Leoric with his new build also for Neil Peasants now on level 4. We've been talking about the hero a lot last week, and we still expect Ominous Wrath and Royal Focus to be taken on 13 and 16. But Alex in trouble once again, chained already, trying to escape here and might actually get away, but just barely, as Mene is trying to go for the final blow here. Does not connect. But Mene also is just one globe away from completing his buyback on level 4, and he has 10 stacks already on his trade.
Kel'Thuzad getting the heal for the 10% of all spell damage dealt there. Gonna save that as much as he can. With that quest finishing up soon, he'll be able to get the buyback as you mentioned. And the thing about Team Dignitas right now, this kill comp has given them a nice lead. They are about to hit level 10 already before the next shrine phase. They've only gotten 2 kills, but the threat they have has been enough that Tricked Esports has missed some experience, and also losing those towers on the bottom, it just hurts a little bit too much.
Exactly, and now we are having 10 any second. Dignitas is going to try and complete this shrine as fast as they can, because if they grab the Punisher now and don't delay it, they will be able to push with the Punisher and level 10, so they can dive even harder. Also, Mene has completed his buyback on 4, so that's another big advantage for them. With level 10, we are immediately seeing them with a Shadow Fissure, which has been the talent for Kel'Thuzad on 10, and that push, of course, is going to hit the mid lane of Tricked Esports quite heavily.
Pushing in already, Tyrael and Lennar working on the bottom to get their 10 back themselves. Crosby and crew will play safe until that 10 does connect. And I gotta ask you, man, how goes the rebranding of KT to Kel'Thuzad gone for you? Because it's hard for me already in casting just to drop the KT.
To be honest, I just
You just don't care.
Yeah.
You just do what you want to do. You're your own man. You're strong, independent Caldor. That's what you are.
No, that's not quite what I was saying, but I guess thanks. I'm just gonna not go for KT anymore. It's always gonna be Kel'Thuzad and Kel'Thuzad.
There you go. Just drop it completely. I like the strat. 10 does hit for Tricked Esports. Tormented Souls, Divine Shield, Sanctification, Leaping Strike, and Horrify coming online. All expected here. Only major change we have on the Tyrael is that even death at level 1.
Yeah, by the way, Malthael has gone into Throwing Shade on level 4, which has been a talent that has seen a lot more popularity lately, even on Battlefield, or especially on Battlefield of Eternity. Another good, oh my god, that could be a disaster. There's the stun, and they kill. Tyrael is down, tries to go for the explosion, gets some solid damage in, but it's not enough. Ancestral had to be thrown out by Bakery to make sure that JPL gets out of harm's way. But at this point, of course, Dignitas has taken a solid lead in this game. Malthael still working at the Throwing Shade, a talent that especially gets some traction once level 20 is hit, but here comes again the chains of Kel'Thuzad. He's going in once, twice, tries to get Lunara, but nice usage of his ult here by Market to get away, but he's not safe just
The minions? He gets what, 2 arrows? Every arrow comes by. He gets out. That was some incredible play by Make.
Yeah.
Using a Leaping Strike to get out, getting the Unstoppable so he couldn't get CC'd in, using it again to jump the top left, dodging the Shadow Fissure, and then tanking a couple of minion shots so he wouldn't get hit there from the Kel'Thuzad combo coming out. Incredible display of skill from him.
I mean, just think about it. You dodge everything and then you run into a minion wave and it kills you. Like, it doesn't get worse than that. Now, as expected, we have right now already our 13 taken for for Leoric, and that's of course Ominous Wrath. So we're going to see that used during those fights for the objective in particular. Chains of Ice now as well, so the additional slow that you get. And once again, the combo against Tyrael had to pop his Sanct immediately, and they're trying to punish as the cooldowns are low. They're going straight for Toronto, and Snitch is in trouble. He should die by all means here, but the heal comes through, and in just another 10 seconds, Rhaegar is also going to have access to the Ancestral again.
Wow, Tricked was very committed to that fight and just couldn't get into a situation to get a kill. The Ancestral healing not being up wasn't even a thing that was important, as Rhaegar was able to get the heals off with Toronto helping out too. Tricked Esport tried to fight a talent disadvantage, almost got in there, but couldn't pull it off, and now Dignitas is in a great spot with Heroics being down for the opposing team.
Yeah, they're jumping in once again. Remember, Ball on the move forward. Divine Shield, of course, also an option for them. But the level 13 talent is a big advantage here. Mene with hit after hit. Once again successful. Snitch, on the other hand, low, but the Ancestral comes through. The stun misses as he turns around and tries to lock Alex down once again. And still another combo being hit with the Owl following through immediately.
And here's the issue. These combos that are already connecting are hurting from Dignitas. But the thing is, the Blight Quest, actually isn't even done.
Yeah.
They are 7 away here from hitting that 30, where he gets an extra additional 75% spell power, which will give him the ability to start one-shotting targets.
Because we didn't see that many fights in the early game, Mena is a bit slow on the quest completion here. If you look on different maps where there's more brawling in the early stages, you will easily see Kel'Thuzad players completing their talent on levels, 7-8 minutes into the game. But we are already 10.5 minutes into this first map, and we still don't see it completed. And that's mainly because Tricked is trying to avoid fights.
And they've avoided so far. Only 3 deaths have come their way, but they've lost out on the Punishers, which is starting to hurt them. The fort on the bottom has been taken off. The top fort is definitely dead here on the top right side. And JPL is very confident, already chasing down their opponents back to their keep wall.
The problem is that Trick just doesn't have as much dive for Kel'Thuzad as they would like to have here. And a lot of the damage that they are running is also damage over time. Another combo. Punisher helps out. Divine Shield comes in. Sanctification is in play as Remaballer drops the Adornment Souls, goes back into the backline, going for Snitch and for Mena. Does not get the kill. March of the Black King being used, and Gul'dan goes down. And not only him, Tyrael and Lunara have also fallen as Team Dignitas is sieging in even more. JPL with a mosh pit, and it's a team-wide, which will conclude the fate of the first keep in the game.
If there was not a Punisher here, Tricked Esport may have actually been able to win that fight, but the Punisher be on the backside. Even though the stun was stopped by the Divine Shield, it eventually applied enough damage on that back line to where Malthael couldn't get home, and we had Team Dignitas get a couple of kills, fall up into the mosh pit, and they are going to charge away towards the core, and they will begin to drop the shields and the health.
Yeah, they go straight for it, and here comes the chains once again. Lunara trying to do what she can, but this is already too late. Tricked is down to 30, down to 20. This, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be game number 1 as Team Dignitas goes in for the victory and takes it on Inferno Shrines.
That was a Kel'Thuzad who did not finish his quest completely, and they still take a major win there. The kill comp, the kill potential was very apparent throughout that match, as we saw Tricked Esports, who is a team that is pretty notorious for getting aggressive when they need to, unable to find that fight they wanted.
To be honest, it was really difficult for them, especially since they haven't won any of the objectives, and that was a huge issue. As we said, Kel'Thuzad, he absolutely shines when his team is pushing. When he pushes, he's in a fantastic spot. He's where he wants to be. He's far away from the action. He can use any structure in front of him to chain a target to it and then land a combo, and so he's always safe. What he really hates if the opponent is starting to get an advantage and they can push into him, because then he's always in a very vulnerable position. That was never a problem for Mena throughout the entire game, so he could really just cater to the power of Kel'Thuzad and had never any issues with his safety. So Tricked with a decent comp, the problem for them was really they couldn't get into that backline, they couldn't do enough damage, they didn't have the dive they wanted. In theory, with Malthael, they can do a lot here, but they never had a situation where that really came into play. So Dig controlled the game from start to finish.
Yeah, being a little bit behind, just hurting Tricked Esport a bit too much. Let's go ahead and check out that replay, actually, from that last fight that did happen. This is the Punisher moving in. This is a push where Kel'Thuzad can be very great here. Now, we had the Shadow Pitcher come out. The Divine Shield on Crosby was great, and Rimmer gets in the back line, and he does his best to get on Snitch and Mana and apply that Reaper's Mark. But this Mark to the Black King with the Punisher on the back line was enough there. Remember, that Punisher dropping out those Arcanes is difficult to fight around.
And also, as we are seeing the entire team just completely demolished here, the Divine Shield was good, but the problem is you don't want to use Divine Shield there. You want to have the Cleanse being used there, because your Divine Shield is supposed to be used later on, either to save Gul'dan in that second attempt, or even better, to make sure that Malthael has the Divine Shield and can go really deep into the backline. So we had a lot of abilities stacked there that they had to use, but they didn't really want to use in that situation. And again, with the sieging power on the side of Kel'Thuzad, it was just a bit too rough. Already the first chain connecting here immediately. So this is the style where you have to be careful about. If you find Kel'Thuzad on the other side in the opponent's team, you need something that can either dive him or push him out of position.
Well, we're talking a lot about KT up here, and you're probably getting tired of